right. Hello, everyone. My name is Sophie Arana. Yes, as Simon said, I'm a research application manager at the Alan Turing Institute, the National Institute for Data Science and AI. And I'm here representing the Turing Research and Innovation Cluster for Digital Twins today. And my goal is to just give you a general introduction to our cluster and kind of flag some of the plans we have for the future. So let me give you an overview. So I'll use our acronym TRICTT because the name for the cluster is just way too long. But here you see the main objectives we have at the TRICTT. And the TRIC is really quite a recent initiative created at the Turing. And it's mainly there to advance the science of digital twinning and to address most urgent technological and societal challenges. And beyond doing the very foundational research necessary to do that, we also aim to produce open and reproducible computational tools, and also to build a multidisciplinary community, such as the community we also have here around these practices. And our aim to realize these objectives is by taking a very multidisciplinary approach. Specifically, our cluster spans across three main sectors: health, infrastructure, and the natural environment. And across these three themes, we have multiple digital twin projects that are currently under development. So I'll just give you a brief taste of the types of projects that are being developed at the Turing. So our infrastructure theme is led by David Wack and Keith Warden from Sheffield University. And the researchers at Sheffield are really focusing quite a lot on the very foundational technologies for digital twins, such as developing dynamic knowledge graphs, so very similar métier to what Dan has talked about just now. And also using reinforcement learning to automatize some of the decision makings in digital twins. And we also have some researchers working on statistical learning theory to enhance the accuracy and the reliability of predictive models in very changing environments. And the infrastructure theme is also collaborating with the Department of Transport on traffic forecast digital twins. Next, we have our health theme, which is led by Stephen Niederer, who is leading a team of researchers at the Imperial College London. And they are building a cardiac digital twin. And this is work with the NHS. And the aim here is to create a virtual heart dashboard as quite a powerful tool for cardiologists to better treat heart failure and to tailor the models that they have to each patient's unique needs. And then our third theme is on natural environment, and this theme is co-led by Christine Dale from the Met Office and Scott Hosking from the British Antarctic Survey, and they are aiming to develop a digital twin of the Antarctic ice sheet, and the goal here being to provide daily to seasonal forecasting. So as you see, quite a big range of projects that we have kind of brought together under this cluster. And on top of that, it's more than just a collective of researchers, because we also have a much wider team that sits at the core and kind of between these three themes, and that is the Innovation and Impact Hub. And so the Innovation and Impact Hub is a team of people that really focuses on driving the impact across the research of these themes. And our team includes various research infrastructure roles, such as program managers, community managers, and research application managers like myself. The research application manager role is actually very unique to the Turing, and you can think of it as almost as the equivalent of a product manager in a commercial setting, but then highly adapted to the research context. So our main focus is to make the research outputs more impactful and more relevant, and often that goes beyond the initial research question. And we do that by focusing a lot on the user perspective, so the perspective that many people here in the call probably have, and just kind of bring that perspective to the research outputs, such as the software, the algorithms, the databases, and so on. We also have a team of software engineers and data scientists that are there to work on the actual implementation of some of these computational tools. So here is kind of the broad overview of what we're doing in the hub. So we facilitate the foundational research at the Turing by developing this larger research infrastructure which includes the development of the open computational and social tools. We're also aiming to develop a cross-domain knowledge commons in the future. And we're also just generally supporting the research by increasing the impact through activities such as stakeholder engagement. And I wanted to spend a minute today to just talk a bit about the traditional path to impact for lots of the foundational research that people are working on in academia, because it often relies on quite a slow adoption of the models and algorithms by industry, and then a couple of further steps to implement those and then finally bring a digital twin into application. And so this process, as I said, can often be quite slow and is also a bit unidirectional. And so at the cluster, one of our aims is really to foster a more dynamic and more bidirectional interaction between the researchers and the industry from the very beginning. And so we think that a very good starting point for this is to drive forward the operationalizing of some of these collective aspirations that we have formalized as a community, such as the Gemini principles or the kind of common information management frameworks that are agreed upon in the community. And we're very keen to work together with many of you to help operationalize those frameworks and to think about how can we embed them early on in the research solutions as well. So we're always interested to hear from all of you, what are the problems in industry that you would like to see solved and that foundational research is required for? And then I just briefly want to mention one of the tools that we have available to do this at the moment. So we are developing an open source tool for building assurance cases specifically for trustworthy and ethical systems. This is a tool that aims to aid practitioners and developers in integrating these general principles into the practical work of building, auditing, and applying the digital twin systems. And hopefully through this tool, we can assure that this technology is not going to advance in the technical sense, but will also be have kind of ethical integrity and societal values built in. So this is already my final slide. So it's just meant to be a very initial introduction to the research cluster. And as we continue building the work in the TRIC-DT, we're really eager to share our journey. So we're going to share, our successes, but also lessons learned and any challenges that have come up. And we hope to share these experiences and kind of live these principles of openness and transparency by contributing to the more collective learning around digital twins. And so the DT Hub has very kindly offered to share our opportunities for engagement with you in the future. So please do look out for them. They will come up soon. The QR code here leads you to our GitHub pages. So if you want to stay up to date with our activities, that's a good place to go. We have a regular seminar series that kicked off last week that is focused for our researchers mainly. But if you're interested in joining that or contributing with some topics, you can find all of that on our GitHub. And yeah, I just want to encourage you to check it out and get involved.
Our next question, Sophie, is to yourself, is will this link to the Turing/AMRC Research Network Plus and the Bridge AI program?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so David Wack, who, as I mentioned, is one of the leads on our infrastructure theme, is actually also leading on the Network Plus initiative. And so, yes, we're very much aware of each other and the initiatives are very closely linked. The Bridge AI program, yes, the Turing also is a partner on that program, and especially the Research Application Manager team is also involved. So I have already joined a couple of their accelerator sessions as a mentor, and we're also trying to connect up some of our researchers to the Bridge AI program to kind of bring this domain sector expertise in. So yes, hopefully all of this will kind of come together and coordinate to increase the benefits.
Sophie, interesting portfolio projects. Can you please comment on why these 3 specific themes have been chosen? Any overarching objectives here?
Yeah, really interesting question. So the themes have been chosen before my time, but I can try to answer this question anyway. So definitely a lot of research has gone into digital twin, a lot of funding has gone into the research around digital twins in the Turing. So we had a lot of development in the past years in these different areas, but they have been quite siloed so far. So I think one of the reasons why choosing these three themes is just because they matched up with already current current results and current projects that have been going on for a long time and have advanced on their own. So it's really kind of the aim to bring these more together. And also the Turing itself is focusing a lot more to center their projects around grand challenges. And these overlap quite a lot with these three themes in the TrickDT. So the aim is really to, rather than having very isolated programs that kind of work within their domains, to open them up across broader, more societally facing grand challenges such as health and environment. And yeah, that's essentially the motivation.
Very good. Another question for yourself, Sophie, is do you intend to use the Digital Twin Hub as a vehicle to communicate the program outputs and call for SME involvement, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely the goal. Yes, so we hope to update you regularly on the progress that's made on the research side, and very much interested to also better understand how we can bring in SMEs and essentially create new partnerships. And also, I guess the involvement level can vary, right? So I'm really curious to also understand the challenges on the industry side and how they kind of can inform how we do research in terms of the practices and processes that we apply. So even if you feel like none of the projects you saw directly relate to your company, please still, think along, get in touch and engage with us, because we just love to learn from your challenges in general.
Very good, thank you. And follow-up question for yourself, Sophie, is what industry partners are you already working with?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the individual research groups have a couple of partners. So for example, our team, they work very closely with clinicians already. So they have some partnerships with the NHS. Our natural environment team is very much partnering with the Met Office and the British Antarctica Survey. We also have some partners on the more governmental side, like the Department of Transport. But yeah, very keen to extend these partnerships in the future as well.
Thank you. And Sophie, our last question, the last 30 seconds, if I may, is can you expand a bit upon the assurance platform, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So the assurance platform is a really interesting project. It comes from the kind of methods or the more regulatory methods used a lot in engineering, where safety and risk assurance is quite common. But the goal here was to translate that into, more abstract, often perceived as more lofty goals, such as ethical and trustworthiness. But the assurance platform essentially is a very practical tool. So it allows you to create a little visual graph of your assurance argument. So kind of organizing the product you have and the measures you took into certain claims that you want to reach to claim that your system is trustworthy and ethical. And then the types of evidence that you can provide to kind of underpin this claim. So it's going to be openly available through your web browser. You can already look at the prototype right now. You can find that through our GitHub. But it's also going to involve a lot of, in the future, a lot of kind of test cases and case studies and templates that hopefully will be very beneficial for the community to even just understand how to build up assurance in the first place.